going on, guys? Welcome back to Cosmic Reactions. Just want to thank y'all for checking this video out with me. Today we're gonna watch Elon Musk leaves reporters speechless and honest interview, supercut, whatever that means. And this video is by Visionary. Let's check it out. Hopefully it's a good one. It's only a week old, so hopefully it's a legit video. Let's get into it.
Listen, playtime is over, okay? Obviously, playtime is over. So, you know, all the Bitcoin in the world, you're still gonna starve. Well, I think Putin is significantly richer than me.
Could anyone explain Bitcoin to me? I don't really understand the meaning behind digital money. Like, I know we're probably all headed that way, but how can someone just make up money and it actually work? Like, I feel like they just invented it and now all of a sudden it's some type of currency. I never understood Bitcoin or any of them electronic coins.
You really do, yeah?
Yes.
Could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into a Optimus?
Yes.
No hesitation.
Well, I certainly hope that SpaceX and Tesla are not forced to develop any kind of weapons technology. Obviously, we would only do such a thing if it was the last resort.
Basically, like, if the government forces them to do it, I expect that's what he's saying. Like, what can he do if the government forces him to make that stuff? Nothing. You know, it's crazy because I like Elon Musk, but at the same time, it's almost like he's hiding something. It's like you don't know what to believe with him. I love how seemingly straightforward he is, but who knows if that's even legit. I feel like he's such a likable guy that if he's not who he portrays to be, that could be really dangerous.
I think I can be helpful in conflicts. Yeah. I mean, I try to take the set of actions that are most likely to improve the probability that the future will be good. Obviously, sometimes I make mistakes in this regard, so it's not like I always get it right, but I aspire to get it right. Yeah. Actually, can I just say, I think it's very important that Germany not shut down its nuclear power stations. I think this is extremely crazy. I think long term, most of civilization's energy is going to come from solar, and then...
Sorry, guys. Is that real? Germany shutting down their power stations? I never even heard of that. I didn't know that was legit. And why are they doing that?
Long term, most of civilization's energy is going to come from solar, and then you need to store it with a battery, because obviously the sun only shines during the day, and sometimes it's very cloudy. So you need solar batteries will be the main long-term way that civilization is powered. But between now and then, we need to maintain nuclear. I can't emphasize enough, please do not shut down the nuclear power plants, and please reopen the ones that have been shut. This is total mess.
So they already shut some down? Why? Why are they doing that? Do they have a breakthrough in technology or something? And are they powering their country a different way than us? Why would they shut down nuclear power plants? I don't understand.
And please reopen the ones that have been shut. This is total madness to shut them down. I want to be clear. Listen, playtime is over, okay? Obviously, playtime is over. We're kind of running this climate experiment, but it's an experiment where we know that's pointless, because we know ultimately we will run out of coal and oil and gas. This is it's not going to last forever. And so we have to transition to something that is long-term in any case, because we'll run out of hydrocarbons to burn. So then let's just not run the experiment. But I'm much less of a climate alarmist than people might think. Although, of course, my words are taken, sometimes always amplified. But
how is it going to look like in 15 years? Better than today? Much better than today?
Oh, from a sustainable energy standpoint, much better. Yeah, much better.
So your bet is we are going to solve the climate issue?
Yes, absolutely. We will solve the climate issue. It's just a question of when. And I'd say like the fundamental good of Tesla should be thought of as by how many years did Tesla accelerate the sustainable energy revolution? That's the fundamental historic good of Tesla. Not whether it would occur. It would occur anyway. But by how many years can Tesla accelerate that transition?
Birth rate is one of the most underestimated problems of our times.
Yes.
Can you explain?
Yeah, so most people in the world are operating under the false impression that there are too many people. This is not true.
I even thought that. They're pushing that agenda, and I believed it. I thought we were overpopulated. If we're not truly overpopulated, I'll be shocked because I've always thought we were overpopulated. That's just wild. If we're really not, why would the government push it so hard?
Could maintain a population many times the current level. And the birth rate has been dropping like crazy. So unfortunately, like we have these like ridiculous population estimates from the UN that need to be updated because they just don't make any sense. Really, you can just look at, say, what was the birth rate last year, how many kids were born, multiply that by the life expectancy, and so say, okay, that's how many people will be alive, in the future. And then say, is the trend for birth rate positive or negative? It's negative. So that's the best case, unless something changes with the birth rate. I mean, you can look at, take Japan, for example. I think, I'm just going off memory here, but I think the population is roughly 110 million. But last year, if you take the number of children born times the life expectancy, which is 85 years, it's very impressive life expectancy, then Japan would have, I think, around 68 million people, roughly half of the current population. That does not tell the full story because you would have an upside down demographic pyramid. You already have an upside down demographic pyramid where, a lot of old people, very few young people. And, so how is that upside down demographic pyramid is unstable. With respect to AI and robotics, I always approach these things with some trepidation because I certainly do not want to play a hand in anything that could potentially be harmful to humanity. Now, humanoid robots, they're clearly happening. I mean, you look at like Boston Dynamics, their demonstrations are better every year. So there will be humanoid robots. I mean, the rate of advancement of AI is very rapid. Even if Tesla stopped doing AI, I think we're still on a track to develop artificial general intelligence.
Of course, it's happening whether Tesla messes with robots or not. It's happening. I mean, it's already too far along. The government's not just going to let them shut down. He is right about that, but that don't mean he has to do it. I mean, he could make a better version or make some type of version that could protect us if the government robots or people working for the government making robots decide to turn on us. He could help us. He could help make robots protect us from things like that.
Meaning intelligence smarter than the smartest human. People get confused. Sometimes they think an economy is money. Money is a database for exchange of goods and services and for time shifting the exchange of goods and services. Money is a database. Money does not have power in and of itself. Like you can run the thought experiment of if you're trapped on a remote island, shipwrecked on an island, and you've got $1 trillion in a Swiss bank account. It's worthless. You'd rather have a can of soup.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So, you have all the Bitcoin in the world, and you're still going to starve. So, the actual economy is goods and services. So then, what limits the output of goods and services? That limiter is labor. Even capital is distilled labor. So the limiting factor for the economy is labor. And so if you address the limiting factor for the economy, then it's not clear that an economy in the traditional sense has any meaning anymore because you have no constraint on goods and services. The only things that will be missing are things that have artificial scarcity. So that where we decide to make it scarce, like a particular piece of art or a particular, home in this exact location or something like that, But there will be no shortage of goods and services.
But in a way, Optimus is also an answer to the problem of drop in birth rates. If we have not enough human people, we need more bots.
Optimus will be helpful with respect to dropping birth rates.
I don't know about
But,
that.
I mean, like I said, you have to say, like, if these things continue,
I
then
don't
what
want
happens?
any
Humanity
robots.
dies out.
Wish
Is
they'd
that
get
what
rid
we
of them
want?
all.
Or step by step replaced by artificial intelligence human beings that Neuralink is empowering.
Well,
Oh, I
yeah,
forgot
mean,
about his Neuralink, however you say it. That's something that could be used badly too, but it could also be used for good. Imagine being able to have that thing in your head and learn a whole college degree in however long it takes to download it. That would be amazing. But I'm sure that's not what God wants. In my opinion, you're basically playing God. I mean, you're wiring something man-made into the brain. I don't know. That's kind of a iffy subject right there. I know I wouldn't be getting it. And I know there's a lot of people who can help, like amputees and things like that. And I feel like that's the good side of it. That could be used for that. But you're going to have people who are diehard gamers who want to get that in their head just so they can game better or improve their reaction time. Like, I could see people getting it for the stupidest reasons. Just to boast. And what about being hacked? Like, is nobody worrying about that? You get the Neuralink in your head, and what if somebody hacks it and turns you into a serial killer by uploading those thoughts into your head or making you believe that you've done some of these things? I don't know how it works or if that's even possible, but I don't know. I think about stuff like that all the time.
I think in the short term, Neuralink is just about solving, brain injuries and spinal injuries and that kind of thing. So to be clear, for many years, Neuralink's products will just be helpful to someone who has lost the use of their arms and legs, or who has just a traumatic brain injury of some kind. That's what Neuralink will be useful for many years.
But in our last conversation, you said that Neuralink is among all your projects, for you, the most important one. Is that still true?
I know, I said it could be. I wouldn't say for sure it is the most important, but it could be the most important, in that there is a long-term mitigation to artificial intelligence, which is that we could effectively merge with artificial intelligence by improving the speed of interaction between our cortex and our tertiary layer, which is already silicon. We're already a sort of a 3-level intelligence creature. The base level is the limbic system, the sort of animal brain or reptile brain, essentially, the sort of fundamental, the animal or reptile brain. And then there's the cortex, which the cortex, by the way, is largely in service to the reptile brain.
Could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into a Optimus?
Yes.
I feel like they've already done that.
I think that is, I'm not saying this is, I think it is possible, I think, to do that. It is possible.
Which would be a different way of eternal life.
No, man, not at all. Not even close. Because all you're basically doing is putting, and I'm no freaking physicist or somebody that knows about these things, but just using common sense, all you're doing is putting our memories into a robot. I mean, it's not going to be us. It might be able to talk like us and act like us, but it's not going to have that love for their sons and daughters or for their family, and it might be able to act like it does, but there's no way it can take our soul also, like the piece of us that is us, the thing that makes you and I unique. All it's going to be doing is basically recording our memories and repeating it. And who knows if the robot even will think it's us, but it's not going to be us. I don't care what no one says. No one will ever be able to make me believe that they can truly transfer us into a robot. I know they can do our thoughts, I'm sure. I'm sure that's not even a problem nowadays. But to transfer our whole being into a robot, to actually make that robot us, it's not happening.
Because we would also download our personalities into a bot.
Yes, we could download the things that we believe make ourselves unique. Now, of course, if you're not in a body anymore, that there's definitely going to be some difference there, you know. So
a lot of difference.
But as far as
You ain't
preserving our
transferring the
memories,
soul.
our personality, if you will, I think we could do that. So we've already amplified our sort of human brains massively.
Okay, now look, this is the way I see it, man. And this just popped in my head, okay? If they were able to download all the stuff they said they could into a robot, but us still be alive, would we feel like we're in two places at once? No, I don't think so. It would have to transfer our consciousness also, which they don't even probably know where our consciousness is in our body, or if they could even transfer it or whatever. But I just feel like if they took our memories and put it into a robot and we weren't dead after, and the robot wakes up, we're not going to feel like we're in two places at once. We're not going to see the robot's perspective and ours. It's just going to be a robot that acts like us. Like, we're not actually going to be able to see through the robot's eyes and things like that. That would be truly transferring us into a robot. You know, that's how we would know if it truly worked. Because if they woke up the robot after transferring everything, and then we felt some type of connection with this robot, or we were able to feel things that the robot is doing, or occasionally see from its perspective, or feel like we're split somehow, I just don't see that happening. There's just no way. I mean, I believe they can make one act like us, talk like us, and do all the things that we would do, but it wouldn't truly be us. I'm sorry, guys.
Computers. And I think an interesting ratio to roughly calculate would be the amount of compute that is digital divided by the amount of compute that is biological. And how does that ratio change over time? And with there's so much digital compute happening so fast that that ratio is increasing rapidly.
Talking about speed, you have the vision that one day Starship could be able to get from A to B in 30 minutes all around the globe. Is that correct? And if so, what would the time frame for this vision? It's like a global super taxi. You can just go from
it's
San Francisco to Nairobi.
Yeah, I mean the landing will be loud. So you'd want to probably be connecting, cities that are next to oceans or seas, such that you can land maybe, I don't know, far enough offshore that the landing noise is not disturbing to people.
But coast to coast, that would be a realistic option.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Elon, you have solved so many problems of mankind and presented so many solutions. I'm surprised that one topic seems not to be too fascinating for you, and that is the project of longevity and increase lifespan significantly. Why are you not passionate about that? You're not personally interested in living longer?
Yeah, I want to hear this. See, that's a smart man. He thinks about his answers.
I don't think we should try to have people live for a very long time. It would cause ossification of society. Because the truth is, most people don't change their mind, they just die. And so if they don't die, they will be stuck with old ideas, and society won't advance. I think we already have quite a serious issue with the gerontocracy, where the leaders of so many countries are extremely
I don't even
old.
know what that means.
I mean, in the U.S., it's, very, very ancient leadership. And it's just impossible to stay in touch with the people if you're, at the, if you're like many generations older than them. And the founders in the U.S., they put minimum ages for political office, but they did not put maximum ages, because they did not expect that people will be living so long, but they should have. Because you really want, in order for a democracy to function well, the leaders must be reasonably in touch with the bulk of the population. And if you're too young or too old, you can't say that you would be in touch.
Is there a kind of ideal age, and how old would you like to get?
Well, I think for political leadership, I think you want to be, I don't know, ideally within 10 or at least 20 years of the average age of the population. This doesn't sound too crazy. So, for me, I don't know. I mean, I certainly would like to maintain health for a longer period of time. But I'm not afraid of dying. I think it will come as a relief. So,
although you may not be able to see the vision of SpaceX come true in your life.
Well, I'd like to live long enough to see that.
Being at a net worth of 230 billion, roughly, being perceived as the richest person on Earth.
Well, I think Putin is significantly richer than me.
You really do, yeah?
Yes. Well, I mean, I can't go invade countries and stuff. I believe.
You could.
I mean, there's like some old quote that from.
Our government won't let you, but you got the money to do it.
You're not really rich unless you can afford a legion.
And you can afford one. Stop fronting.
Do you know John Law?
I don't know.
John Law used to be the richest person on Earth 300 years ago.
Okay.
He was a poker player, a gambler, homme de femme. He was the biggest art collector on Earth, so a lot of superlatives.
Wow.
In the end, he went bankrupt.
What? That's a pretty far to fall.
Did you ever thought about that option, that something could go wrong and that you could one day lose everything?
I mean, there's been many times where I expected to lose everything. Not, I mean, who starts a car company and a rocket company expecting them to succeed? Certainly not me. I thought they both had less than a 10% chance of success. And frankly, I wasn't wrong in that in 2008, we had the third failure of SpaceX, and if the fourth launch had failed, SpaceX would be dead in 2008. We had no money for a fifth launch. And for Tesla, Tesla's been on the verge of bankruptcy many times. And we closed the financing round in 2008, because remember, at the end of 2008, General Motors and Chrysler were going bankrupt, and Ford was almost bankrupt. So imagine trying to raise money for an electric car startup while General Motors is going bankrupt. I mean, people were angry that I even asked. But we were able to just barely raise enough money to squeak by and close the financing round for Tesla on the last hour of the last day that it was possible in Christmas Eve 2008. And if we had not closed that financing round then, it would have gone bankrupt 2 days after Christmas.
So you know what you're talking about. Do you see any danger that one day not only big platforms like Google or Facebook could face much more rigid regulation, but that Elon Musk could be regulated because of
regulated
being too big?
What? Actually, as it is, SpaceX and Tesla are regulated very heavily.
But I mean that there could be a discussion that it's just too much in too many areas.
I have too much power personally or something?
Well, I mean, if you build in many sectors that are absolutely crucial to society, very dominant.
See you on Mars, suckers. Just kidding.
That's the option. Yeah. Okay. So one way to avoid that is to be a good citizen, and you are, and you have your own foundation. Could you tell us a little bit about your projects, what your foundation is going to do in the future, what your priorities are to donate money and to improve the world? beyond your business activities.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to emphasize that SpaceX and Tesla are fundamentally intended to improve the probability that the future is good. So this will do more, they will do more than anything I do from a charitable standpoint in terms of usefulness to humanity. I mean, Tesla is about accelerating sustainable energy. Obviously, that's important. SpaceX is about making life multiplanetary and, of course, providing a global internet through Starlink. These are fundamental goods that the good of those companies will far exceed anything that I do from a charitable standpoint. And I have to say, it is very difficult to give away money effectively if you care about the money actually doing good and not merely the perception of doing good. But I always I'm looking for ways to give away money that are effective. Like, what do you think I should do?
I do think he's kind of right about that. Like, if he was the rich people, if all the rich people got together in our world and decided to get everybody out of poverty and let everybody be on the same level financially, they could easily do that. Easily. And still have money left. But for a lot of people who haven't never had money, receiving that much money would probably just put them right back in the same boat they were in before. And I assume that's what he means when he said that. But there's some people I don't think it would help. I think it would probably make things worse. People who have a drug addiction, like, for instance, they'd probably end up killing themselves from the amount of drugs they would use because they have the money to use it. You know? People with enemies, people with... there's just a lot of bad people in our world. And just handing them a boatload of money would only make things worse. And you obviously can't tell who is like that and who isn't. I mean, you could tell some people who are like that, but then there's some people who are really good at putting on a fake face, and you just think they're the most coolest person in the world, but behind closed doors, they're a psychopath or something like that. There's a lot of people like that in our world, and having a bunch of money would not help.
You know what heroes of underrated heroes are the people who are doing a service in hospitals, helping elderly people. And I think they don't have a lobby.
Okay.
So I think to do something for them, because we all need them if we are in trouble.
Sure. Well, I mean, the pressing items in the short term are completing full self-driving, so that we have full self-driving operating at a substantially safer level than humans. Basically, it comes down to solving the problem of real-world AI. That consumes a lot of my mind, and then getting Starship to work, not just to get to orbit, but to achieve full and rapid reusability, which is really the holy grail of rocketry that is necessary for humanity to become a multi-planet species.
Is there anything that you really would like to achieve, which you think is going to be impossible?
Join Visionary Society and be the first to access new exclusive Supercut interviews and downloadable content with visionaries like Elon Musk. Limited access. Click the link in the description and join today.
Impossible is a strong word, but...
You don't like that word?
Well, it's just it's a strong word. I mean, I sort of approach things from a physics standpoint, and the word impossible is, more or less banned in physics. I'm really worried about this birth rate thing. That's been troubling me for many years. Because I just don't see it turning around.
What is he saying? We're not having enough babies? Is that what he means? Or, compared to how we used to? I guess that's what he's talking about.
For a year it's worse. And I drive my friends crazy by...
Perhaps that's a project for your foundation.
Sure.
Okay, you are a multi-talent person. Is there any field of total incompetence?
I'm terrible at dancing.
Although you like techno music so much.
Yeah, but the nice thing about techno is don't have to be able to dance very well. You can just jump around, basically.
Walter Isaacson is planning a biography, and he has written a biography on Einstein, on Steve Jobs, on Benjamin Franklin, and Leonardo da Vinci. Among the four, with whom would you like to meet and have a glass of wine?
Well, I mean, it'd be an honor to meet any of them, even for a minute. I think Ben Franklin would be the most fun at dinner.
And who is the one where you would say, I'm closest to him? Would it be Leonardo da Vinci?
I think I'm
You're a Renaissance man,
pretty
no?
different from all those people, everyone there. It might actually be Ben Franklin, frankly. He did a lot of science and engineering stuff. I don't know, but it's funny, Da Vinci thought of himself first and foremost as an engineer. And in his application, when he applied for his position, that enabled him to create a lot of the art. His application was all about his engineering stuff, and then at the end, and also I do some art. It was just funny that Da Vinci really thought of himself as an engineer, and for the time he was pretty impressive.
What is your biggest fear?
Well, I think you have to say, what are the existential threats that humanity faces? We spent a lot of time talking about the birth rate thing. That might be the biggest single threat to the future of human civilization. Then there's
nuclear weapons.
Artificial intelligence gone wrong is
AI, yeah,
a big concern. I think religious extremism is a concern.
I agree.
Yeah.
What is your biggest hope?
My biggest hope is that humanity creates a self-sustaining city on Mars.
You have once said, if I'm not in love, I cannot be happy. Are you happy at the moment?
I think there's degrees of love. But certainly for one to be fully happy, I think you have to be happy in work and happy in love. So I suppose I'm medium happy. There are degrees of happiness.
Can love for projects, for work, compensate love among people?
That's a good
I think
question.
love of work, in my experience, can at best make one halfway happy.
Perhaps that's your biggest hope, to be really in love.
I have been in the past. I try to be as literal as possible. I would be happy if humanity has a self-sustaining city on Mars, because then the probable lifespan of humanity is much greater. I think we really just got this, consciousness, like this little candle of consciousness, like a small light in the void, and we don't want that small candle in a vast darkness to be put out.
Oh man, that was a good video. It wasn't about what I thought it was going to be about, but it was still pretty good. I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch this video with me, and I hope to see y'all in the next one. If y'all enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good one.